Welcome to the Stock2Me Podcast, powered by IBN. This original audio production delivers market and sector insights, as well as exclusive interviews with innovative executives shaping the future in fast-moving industries, and may feature a client partner of IBN or one of the 60-plus investor-focused brands within IBN's dynamic brand portfolio. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, IBN leverages its extensive distribution network, utilizing multiple proprietary corporate communication tools to introduce both public and private companies to a vast and diverse audience of investors, consumers, influencers, journalists, and other targeted segments of the public. IBN may have received compensation to produce this audio content. Please be sure to read IBN's entire disclaimers for full disclosures. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the next revelatory episode of IBN's Stock2Me Podcast.
Thank you all for joining us for our latest podcast episode with the CEO of Diamond Lake Minerals, a company that specializes in digital assets and SEC-registered security tokens. Brian, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So before we get into your latest news, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to becoming CEO of Diamond Lake Minerals last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So my entire life and career has been always as an entrepreneur. So as a teenager, starting companies, going out there, finding ways to earn, and I've been doing that till present day. So there's two channels of my life. There's my private holdings, which is known as Esposito Intellectual Enterprises. That's 23 plus years as an entrepreneur, building, starting, acquiring, merging with companies. The current arsenal there that I've built up is there's over 110 companies that we're involved in. There's over 200 joint ventures around the world and proudly operating in over 25 different industries. And thank you, pal. It's I try not. I love the question, but I try not to think backwards because it's been one hell of a journey. So I always think it forward. As it evolved into where I am now at Diamond Lake Minerals, throughout my career, I've always been heavily focused on public markets, understanding regulatory. Always treating companies as if they were public companies as far as fully audited, showing entrepreneurs and founders, go out into the world and go out and earn. I'm not the unicorn guy. I'm the guy that says if you want to be in business, you got to have revenues, and if you want to stay in business, you need to be profitable. And that's my simplest form of the definition of business that I can think of. So when the opportunity arose to look at DLMI and take over as CEO last August, a few things I highly admired about it was the president and director, Michael Reynolds, that kept that thing alive for the last 7 or so years, is seasoned in the mindset like I am. He's late 70s, so I think like someone of that generation as it relates to public securities and balance sheet. And I get presented so many public vehicles and OTC or pink sheets throughout my career, and they're always a mess. They're riddled with billions of shares. There's no way they can get out of their own way. You don't know who's sitting on control somewhere that you don't even know that they exist. But this one was quite special. And then him and I aligned, and we came up with the strategy of me taking over as CEO and repurposing and re-strategizing the vision of the company, taking my history and my expertise, especially in digital assets and security tokens, and applying a new model of what I believe the future of public companies are set out to be.
Wow. Well, there's so much to unpack there. Let's get into the security token side. Where do you see the biggest applications of that technology?
The nice thing is I think it'll be involved with everything you can think of as we evolve, and it will be applied, or tokenization will be applied to everything. Right now, we see the biggest opportunity in commercial real estate and creating liquidity for a lot of paper that's maturing over the next few years. There's $7+ trillion in the U.S. alone of commercial real estate paper that's going to have a liquidity issue. We believe tokenization is a great solution. We believe the security token aspect of it is a perfect solution. And then what we've built in our company and our program is the ability to go out and monetize real-world assets in our business model. So for us, the easiest way to describe it is think of an old-school GE structure, parent umbrella, multiple industry-agnostic companies that we want to operate and have within our operating company, and build and grow those companies as you would traditionally do. But we also have a security token component where we can invite investors from all over the world to be able to buy into our businesses. And that's where it gets pretty exciting for a couple of reasons. A, bring in new access to capital at scale. But also what I love about the tokenization capabilities is you give the entire planet that has a smartphone and a digital wallet the ability to invest in something that they never had the ability to invest in before. And that's where it gets really great for humanity, for the ability to create wealth for a household that never had that option, and to create opportunities for them to buy into that they weren't part of the 1%ers of the world. So that's, one of the biggest things that I see a great opportunity for tokenization for humanity, and we're proud to be hopefully leading that.
Wow. Well, obviously a lot can change in 5 years, especially today. Just kind of going out further, I mean, you mentioned quite a few immediate opportunities, but where do you see us in, say, 5 years from now, or 10 if we need to go further?
Us as a humanity going forward?
Yeah, as we introduce blockchain technology, have the ability to tokenize everything, just to paint a bigger, picture.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most protective pieces of it is transparency, right? If something is owned by somebody or not, and I've been involved in so many, I don't even know what to call it, blank deals where people were selling things they didn't even own, or they were trying to broker a deal and then get cash from somebody and then use that cash to then go and buy something to sell it. Like, a lot of shady people out there. So when you look at the idea of blockchain and transparency, you have the ability to have proof of ownership. And then when you look at transferring that ownership to either another individual company or multiple individuals or multiple companies, the efficiencies and the cost reductions in that process is just quite amazing. So you're going, it's basically principal to principal at that point. There's not all these hands in the middle, which is going to be unfortunate for maybe the future of broker dealers in the world. And if they're not adapting, they're going to die, right? If they're not introducing this new financial mechanism for transactions and moving transactions from one party to the other, or ownership in those transactions, then I probably see either a giant consolidation in that space or them not existing anymore, because it's all going to be living on chain in a digital format. So those are the types of industries that need to think about what does the future of crowdfunding look like, or investing into companies, and how do they either maneuver to get their company bought into a company that's leading that, or how do they apply those new technologies into their ecosystems?
Yeah, great point. There's going to be so many different advantages as we move forward, and as they're discovered, I don't know, just demand for greater transparency, we'll keep driving things forward. But what are some examples of investments or initiatives you've started since becoming CEO of Diamond Lake?
Oh yeah, it's been one great journey. The momentum and interest in DLMI is strong right now, which is great. Our story's good. We're very focused on our strategy. We've rolled out a couple of great announcements as to who we're working with in this space, such as INX, who's a regulated security token exchange. Our initiatives in partnership with Avrio. So having the ability to bring offerings to market within our own ecosystem, I think is very important, because once tokenization or security tokens truly start to hit mass scale, I wanted to make sure DLMI was never behind other offerings. We wanted to be able to go to market immediately with a new opportunity, a new asset, a new real world asset that we wanted to bring into our umbrella, and then also tokenize it to be able to initiate a capital event for investment into that product. But if there's players with bigger pockets that are working with a handful of exchanges that are regulated to do this, our offering would just get put under the pile. So I wanted to make sure our strategy was never to be in that position. We've announced our partnership with Boxable, who's a phenomenal company of what they've done over the last few years. Great team. Galliano and I have been working together for many years, and we came together with their IP and their solution for affordable housing, and be able to manufacture a home completely within a factory setting and then ship it to be dropped off and unfolded into a 400 square foot home. Nobody can do that besides them. So with DLMI, we've announced our residential model underneath DLMI's umbrella to go out and look for great pieces of land with partners to build boxable villages. So we'd actually be able to deploy an entire village that are made up of boxable units to show the world how do you get a dwelling or a community up and running in a fraction of the time, a fraction of the cost, and be able to have people reside in those dwellings that are beautifully modern with all the bells and whistles you can think of, but again, at a fraction of the cost. So, we were honored to be working with them and leading that with them. And we're very excited to identify some locations that we're currently going through our due diligence on, and to be able to start to roll out the first of boxable villages in partnership with DLMI and Boxable.
Yeah, and I also saw in a recent press release there's an AI component. Would love to hear, a little bit about that. And then also just, for those that are trying to better understand what AI could mean for them, how do you think that would affect how future investments are made?
Yeah, I'm a technologist, so I always chuckle when I get asked this question. AI freaks the hell out of me. A lot of aspects of it is concerning. I wish the AI movement was not so fragmented, because I do believe it could offer a tremendous amount of help and solutions for the world. Like if AI went all in on how does this technology help to ensure everybody has something to eat, or everybody has free access to clean, fresh water, or the manufacturing for clothes. Like I would have liked to seen it used in much more use cases, but there's so much money being poured into it. It's a buzzword now for every company, whether they were AI focused or not. They're throwing the word AI in there to go out and try to pitch the VCs or bring in capital or stay relevant. And we're not doing that at all. We're utilizing some technologies to be able to, for example, with our real estate division, we can utilize tools to ensure that is a safe investment. Can we utilize all this data pulling and be able to analyze it much more quickly and much more efficiently, and maybe eliminate some of the human error that would create an opportunity for a risk associated with DLMI going into an investment or a partnership. But I believe in employment for people. I would much rather go out and hire everybody I can in the world and build an amazing, big, beautiful company than looking at AI to help reducing employment, which a lot of companies are doing. But as far as investment, I think what's going to get interesting is utilizing tools to help identify if there's a trend that's going to be kicking in for a potential company or potential industry. Maybe analyzing best way to enter into a stock or not, utilizing some of these AI tools, and if it's hitting some of the criteria. I'm sure. I mean, it's been being used for a long time. It's now becoming more mainstream to the masses, but there's been AI technologies that have been implemented for many decades that a lot of big companies have been using. So everything technology that's been created is used for good and bad. I do think AI is not being used correctly right now for how much good it can do, but it's bringing a lot of money for a lot of companies. We're not out there pitching we're an AI company. We're not out there trying to bring in money and saying that we're an AI company. No, I'm building companies, old school business styles, and creating value for our shareholders. And we want to create a great culture and work environment for all of the future employees at DLMI.
Yeah, and I'd love to just break down a little bit more what your business model actually is. Obviously, what you've done so far, with your own company outside of Diamond Lake is nothing short of incredible. And anybody who's interested should definitely look up your name, see what top magazines and other things have said. But kind of going towards your bigger vision, future for Diamond Lake, what do you see?
I see us being an MSN article went out calling us the Berkshire Hathaway of tokenization. Well, that was pretty badass. That was cool. I like seeing that the perception of what we're doing could ultimately, maybe we become that. I'm replicating the GE structure, the Wayne Huizenga approach to building companies, creating value. I would love us to be involved in as many companies as possible, because in my history and my private work, I'm used to doing that. And the way that I always saw that working is that all these companies work together, they share resources, they open up new opportunities, they create new wonderful IP, and it's just this pretty amazing flow of work. Where it tends to go sideways is if leadership is led by greed or ego, but we have none of that. We're led by good people doing good work and providing value, and in turn, we are very excited to be able to return that value to our shareholders or our future security token holders through things like dividends or unique special dividends and security token offerings. So we're working on all of that. We've spent the last 6 or 7 months since I've taken over to describe what is DLMI. And I've been asked many times, are we changing the name? I love the name of the company. I love Diamond Lake Minerals. I love our ticker symbol. That's what it's going to be. So that's not going to happen. And now it's okay, we've set a great foundation. We've brought in some amazing, iconic advisors that are supporting me and supporting the vision of this company. They're icons in multiple different industries, so that really gives us great access into those industries and expertise. And you can gauge and guess that we're probably going to be doing something within those industries, which is why they've joined our team and part of our world. So now we're going into that phase where, okay, we need to start bringing assets onto our balance sheet. We need to start bringing revenues into this company, and then I got to work my tail off to be able to do what I can't wait to do one day, is return dividends to our shareholders, besides an increase in our share price. Always working towards that to always provide value. But for me, I want this to be a stock or a security that people don't want to sell. I want this to be the Berkshire Hathaway Class A stock. I want this to be the stock that people hand down from generation to generation. And the only way that we achieve that is to do the best work we possibly can and create great dividends and rewards and returns for our shareholders.
Wow. Well, I would almost like to just end on that note. It's really incredible.
Thanks.
What you've done on the forefront of innovation. Definitely appreciate you joining us. If you have any final thoughts, feel free to share them.
No, thanks, Jonathan. And it's been great to work with IBN since I've taken over. So thank you guys for your support and getting our messaging and wording out there. And I look forward to doing more of these conversations with you and your team.
Awesome. And we look forward to seeing the continued success and advancements that lie ahead for you and your company.
Thank you, Jonathan. Have a good day.
The Stock2Me Podcast is an original content production powered by IBN, a multifaceted financial news and publishing company that delivers next-generation corporate communication solutions. Utilizing proprietary corporate communication tools such as news aggregation and syndication, social communication, and brand awareness techniques, among others, IBN introduces both public and private companies to diverse audiences to enhance reach and recognition. IBN may receive compensation for services and solutions provided to its client partners. You should assume that the owners, officers, and directors of IBN or financial analysts mentioned in this production may hold a position in and may intend to trade the securities in their own accounts. This production is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell any securities that may be mentioned in this production. The information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be or should it be construed as investment advice. As in all investments, investment in the featured companies carries inherent investment risk. Listeners should review the companies thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This production by IBN is not purported to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used in statements of fact have been obtained from featured companies and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by IBN as to completeness and accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please see IBN's full disclaimers and disclosures at www.ibn.fm/disclaimer. Music in this episode is by Infraction. For more, visit inaudio.org.